Now, hope for the return to power of the suspended governor of Rivers State, Simi Fubara, and members of the State House of Assembly at the expiration of the state of emergency in the state on September 18 has further brightened. This comes as the state government has begun to transition from emergency rule to democratic governance. The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, had earlier hinted that the recent successful conduct of local government elections in the state, the coast was clear for the return of Fubara and the state lawmakers. The 6-month emergency rule declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the state on March 18, 2025 is expected to expire on Thursday, September 18. Auwal Rafsanjani is Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, the Nigerian arm of Transparency International. He now joins me to take an overview of events in Rivers State across the 6 months of the state of emergency. Good to have you on the show, Auwal Rafsanjani. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ruben. Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Ruben, and good evening, viewers.
Well, there's been some celebration and chest beating in Rivers State. The sole administrator appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says, well, he has fulfilled President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's mandate. His mandate being to restore stability in Rivers State and to ensure the return to democratic governance, and that with the recent conduct of local government elections, he has done that. Today, there was an inter-ecumenical worship, Christian worship, in Port Harcourt, where the sole administrator with civil servants in the state and the recently elected local government chairman were, beating their chest. And the expectation, people say, is that on September 18, the sole administrator will be leaving. But there are people who say, well, nothing is certain. After all, the promise that the state of emergency will end was given by Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and not by the federal government of Nigeria. And clearly, the Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution says, in fact, that the extension, the state of emergency can be extended through an official gazette by the federal government or by a proclamation of the expiration by the 2/3 majority of the National Assembly. Nyesom Wike doesn't fall into those two categories. So is it certain that the state of emergency would end? What do you think?
Thank you very much. I think there are a number of scenarios that are likely going to happen, given the fact that all this conversation about the fact that the state of emergency is going to end, September 18. We have not heard really from the two powerful institutions that have made this to happen. In fact, 3 institutions that have made this to happen. First, the presidency that's initiated and insisted, on putting this sanction on the Rivers State governor. They have not come out categorically to say that they are going to lift this, or they will send proposal to the National Assembly, what give them more legitimacy to embark on this state of emergency in Rivers State. So we have not had any conversation from the presidency and also from the National Assembly that have legislated or that have actually, legislative speaking, endorsed the state of emergency in Rivers. So I think while Nigerians are expecting and celebrating that this may come to an end, and that is just to tell you the totality of action has no any popularity, and of course, is short of constitutional provisions that has empowered them to do what they have claimed to have done. I think, if there's anything that the current administration has suffered from, is this absence of political integrity that has led them, as a result of this action. I then think many Nigerians are happy, or were happy, with what the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu has done in that place. This is because the Constitution is very clear. Even if the governor was removed, there was supposed to be a due process. The Constitution of Nigeria has given, clear procedure and processes on how someone can be removed, and also if there's no fairness in that, he or she can actually go to court. We know that Section 188 of our Constitution relating to the impeachment is very clear. The Section 36 of the Constitution, which talk about the right to fair hearing, is very clear. And even the right for the federal government to take over, or the National Assembly to take the action they have done, which is under the Section 185, of our Constitution, they're all there. There's no much conversation or dialogue or discussion or even peer hearing to the governor before he was removed. And the Constitution is very clear. In fact, as a matter of fact, the Constitution is even in favor of the fact that if you are removed unfairly, unjustly, the federal government should intervene to restore that mandate. Not that they should just go and even take over this thing the way they have done. Secondly, you can see the agenda. The calculated agenda is to deplete whatever structure or whatever control that the governor had, by embarking on a fresh local government election, which completely alienated the function of the governor. So I think politically, they know what they are doing. They wanted to take over the rivers at all costs, and this is what is continuing to increase, political violence, tension, mistrust in the country. I think if there was a genuine intention to embark on peace, because it is allowed to also have peaceful resolution, political reconciliation, you do not need to take the total action that you have taken against the governor, and to the extent of even removing all his photographs in various offices. It means that you came with an agenda. But having said that, the National Assembly that has supported, rightly or wrongly, Mr. President in this, they also have the obligation, to ensure that they intervene by ensuring that they give legislative action to lifting this, embargo or suspension that they have done. If they didn't do that, it means that they have also abdicated, or neglected their responsibility as federal lawmakers, because the president couldn't have done what he has done without their, at least, legislative, moral, and moral support. So they also have obligation, because Nigerian people, they are also seeing the National Assembly as part of the contributory factor that gave rise to this problem in rivers. And therefore, in my opinion, they have moral justification to come out to ensure that now that they have done assessment, and now that they have seen that at least there's a normalcy, there's no fight, there's no any reason that was advanced to, in the first place, embark on this action, they should be able to be bold enough to tell Mr. President that, look, it's time to also restore the legitimacy and the power of this governor, because people voted for him. And I don't think it is fair to continue to deny the River State, the people that voted, the governor. I don't think it is fair to deny them the right to have the governor they so elected to be their governor. I think National Assembly has to come out, again, to play legislative action to ensure that this governor is back to the office, and all those other functions that are making life difficult for the River State people who ordinarily they want peace, but because of some action of individual, they are making it, or they have made it difficult to happen. Now, there are a number of things that will happen. I think, if the president is able to approach National Assembly again to say that, okay, the reason that I approach you to have this state of emergency in rivers, now we have stabilized the place, we want you to also do another legislative, endorsement to lift this. I think Nigerians will appreciate Mr. President and will also appreciate National Assembly if they have done that needful. But the second part of the problems has to be resolved, which is to say the role of the political, godfather, which is Wike, and also some of the people in the State Assembly, as well as other people that have engineered this crisis. There's need to sit down to dialogue to ensure that we resolve this amicably. I don't think each part will have the, what it takes to ambush and muzzle one another. I think what is needed now is for the two of them to understand that they need to have River State, to have it peacefully so that it can be run peacefully, because none of the function can successfully run without one another. I think there's need to have genuine dialogue to resolve this matter. It's not about showing federal might. It is about really sitting down to genuinely and democratically discuss how to get out of this quagmire.
Okay, Rafsanjani. Yeah, okay, just a number of clarifications. It seems clear from your submissions that you consider the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State unconstitutional and illegal. And there are many others who hold that view with you.
Absolutely.
Because the conditions precedent to a declaration of a state of emergency are properly spelled out in the Constitution, Section 305. And those conditions, people have said, look, there was no threat of war. There was no breakdown of law and order. The only thing that was on the table was the conflict between the political godfather that you referred to and the governor. And then it appeared as if the federal government just took sides. What is the guarantee that the conflict between the political godfather and his client, who was, the elected governor of Rivers State, would end, even if that state of emergency is lifted? Number two, people are looking forward to September 18. The president, I don't know, maybe I'm behind the news. I don't think he's back from his working visit to Europe. And when he returns, when he returns, well, the National Assembly, that also has a role to play in the matter, is on recess till September 23. So that adds to the uncertainty. So what do you recommend? Should the president return, or since he says it's a working visit, to issue an official gazette? Should the National Assembly be recalled from recess to address this issue? Because, as you pointed out, nobody is sure about the certainty of September 18.
I think if we believe that we are running a constitutional democracy, the absence of the president who has officially gone for leave, from the news we had, the president has gone for his annual leave. Whether it is annual leave or working, leave he has gone, we have a sitting vice president that the Constitution also equally empowers him to take over or to deputize the president in his absence. So I don't think the absence of the president, if we are genuine and we are interested in moving forward, I don't think his being away should be a problem if there's a political will and if the idea is not to actually hijack Rivers State. The vice president can play the role of Mr. President as directed by Mr. President. Secondly, the National Assembly, whatever holiday they are doing, this is a very important issue they have played role, and therefore they have obligation to equally come back. After all, if you calculate the number of sitting that the National Assembly is supposed to sit in a year, you could see that hardly they also meet the constitutional requirement of the sitting days that they are supposed to. So I don't think there's anything wrong for them to imagine to reconvene for the purpose of dealing with this issue, because it's a national issue. In fact, internationally, the whole world is watching and seeing. So if the National Assembly failed because they say they are on holiday to do that, I don't think the Nigerian will see them as taking this matter seriously and wanted to be unbiased on this matter, because the allegation so many Nigerians were making was that because of the the emergency in which this issue hurriedly was taken in the National Assembly, no this traditional this debate and discussion to actually come up with the best possible solution. The National Assembly hurriedly supported what Mr. President asked them to do, and that is one of the danger that we have in the current dispensation. And I'm alone played the same thing. Now with Apabio, it's even the worst. So anything that the presidency brings, whether positive or negative, the National Assembly will hurriedly endorse it and betray the mandate that the Nigerian people have given them, which is to ensure that whatever they are doing, it is in the best interest of Nigeria, and it is done with patriotic zeal. So it is important that the National Assembly understand that they have played a very important role in endorsing this suspension or emergency rule they have done. And therefore, the time framework that was given to them, on which they act on, is expiring on the 18th. So they also need to come back and ensure that they play the role by ensuring that they, ensure that the governor is back in the office. But beyond all this, I am telling you, if this, the powerful man in Nigeria now, because I'm not even sure whether Tinubu is more powerful than Wike, because Wike will openly say he will go and cause trouble in some places, and nobody could even bother to caution him. So I think we have two powerful people in Nigeria that they can either make peace or that they can make peace impossible, and that is Mr. Wike and Mr. President. If these two people have agreed to allow peace to happen in Nigeria, I think it is possible. But if the two of them, they are not interested, forget it. Wike has already, made himself to be a very, very powerful person that he can even say that the president, it doesn't matter. In some of his interviews, whether it is a slippery talk, he was even saying, who is Tinubu? That is to tell you how powerful the man has gone, and nobody has questioned him. So I don't know what the President Tinubu is looking from Wike that he can actually begin to even dismiss him. He's even doing competition with him. This is the first time we are seeing a minister in Abuja competing with the president. Everywhere is his poster. He's not elected person, and everywhere is his poster that Mr. Project. Meanwhile, 99% of the projects you see in Abuja were initiated by the previous regimes, and all that he's doing is either commissioning or initiating something that is going to invoke renovation of waste of taxpayers' money. So I think, with due respect, Tinubu need to make a choice whether to allow Wike to continue to incite trouble everywhere in the country or to call him to order. He is not the only politician. Okay, I think, in my opinion, Wike should respect himself, to follow due process and also stop this gangarism.
Well, Rafsanjani, let's make this a conversation about Wike. As we begin to wrap up this conversation, I'd like you to comment on this Thanksgiving ecumenical, or what do they call it, service, that Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas organized today to celebrate what, really? To celebrate what many commentators say is illegal. What's your take?
Well, he did not act by himself. He was appointed and directed and mandated to do whatever he has done. Two options would have happened. Either for him to honorably say that, look, I don't want to, tarnish my integrity, or I don't want to be on negative historical antecedent in this country, or you just comply with what the president has given you to do and do it, with all sort of consciousness that tomorrow it may backfire against you. And for me, he has said publicly he has executed that what he wanted to do. And part of it is to take over Rivers' political control from the governor. He has, organized a fresh local government election. He has channeled all sorts of resources to wherever he likes. So I think, and then of course, to some extent, they have empowered again the function of the other, group. I think, in my opinion, if this Thanksgiving is meant to restore the power back to the governor, we should commend him and, that he is not asking for extension, because some people could even go to the extent of looking for extension. So, but I hope that the acting, governor will not go to that extent of, requesting Mr. President or National Assembly to extend the emergency rule so that he will continue until about party primary election or about the next election, because anything can happen. There's no certainty. And that is why I say Mr. President and Mr. Wike, these two are the people that can help to solve the problem. Because ordinarily, National Assembly, if they had that institutional power, what had happened will not even happen. But because they have been coerced, they have been ambushed, they have been emasculated, they have submitted completely, they have, abdicated even their own powers. So even oversighting the River emergency rule, they were not able to do it. Ideally, National Assembly should be able to see what is going on in River State. But will they even be allowed when they have already mortgaged their own power? So I think it is a lesson for National Assembly also.
On that note, Auwal Rafsanjani, I would like to thank you very much for your insights and for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday Talk Show.